Well, I made my first mistake already on my saber, but it has not affected the appearance of our saber just yet. If you recall when I asked you to cut off a 1/2 inch piece off your 1 1/4 PVC coupler and to cut this little gap in here, this piece you will not need anymore. Instead, cut off a 1/2 inch off of your 1 inch PVC coupler, sand at 45-degree angle on here, and continue on from the instructions from there with sanding your inside of your 1 1/4 PVC coupler. Now with this 1 inch PVC coupler here, you're going to take this piece and put it over your 1 inch PVC pipe. Now this piece here is supposed to go right up to the bottom of your bell end here of your escutcheon. Now from here you're going to take it and glue it right up into place and let the epoxy cure. Once your epoxy is cured, take your 6 remaining slip joint washers and place them over your 1 inch PVC pipe up to your 1 inch PVC coupler. Now each of these here will give you an 1/8 inch gap in between. Now I went out and I bought another set of slip joint washers to use one here as my spacer, so as I place them under I can use it as my spacing tool and gap each one at an 1/8 inch intervals. Next, take your PVC grip pattern here, measure 7 1/4 inches from the bottom up and cut off with your hacksaw. With our grip pattern here cut at 7 1/4 inches, we can see that our Qui Gon saber is starting to take a little shape now. As you can see here, that this gives us a great idea of what our product is going to look like, but we still have some more work to do yet. Next, if you take your center marking here on your PVC grip pattern, find the exact center of your area here, and you're going to place your 1 inch belt sander on this mark to make a recessed 1/16 to an 1/8 inch recessed area. To make our recessed area here, take the center marking here on your PVC grip pattern here, and it's going to be placed right up against the 1 inch belt. Now, the edge of this rib right here is going to be close but not making contact with the edge of this belt, so when you're sanding it's going to look something like this. So keep in mind that the edge of this belt here will not be touching this first rib here. You're only going to want to sand this area right here. Now I have my PVC grip pattern here placed back into my Qui Gon handle, and you can clearly see the recessed sanded area here that I just made into my hilt. Now, we can start assembling our saber now. Take the top end of the saber which you've been working on, place it onto the inside of your PVC grip pattern. Now it's important to keep that 1/8 inch gap in between your slip joint washer here and the top of your PVC grip pattern. Now my lightsaber will be electronic version, so I'm going to have to cut off a part of this 1 inch PVC pipe. And I'm going to have to make a cover to go on the inside of my grip pattern here. So what I'm going to do is take a measurement from the top of my ring here down, less 1/4 inch, so my cover could glue to the inside of this. And my measurement for this, let's see, 5 3/4 to the first cut ring. It'll be about 5 1/2 inches from the length from the top of my emitter ring here down, so I can cut that off. Next, take your S-trap for lavatory and cut off a 5 5/8 inch long piece and set it aside. Then cut off a 1 inch long piece. With the 1 inch piece here, cut off a 3/16 inch wide area off of your inlet piece. Now what we want to do is we want to take up any the gap area in our 1 1/4 PVC grip pattern here. Now just to show you, you can see that with our top end of our emitter section of our saber placed inside of our 1 1/4 pipe, you can see that it has some play inside of it. So what we want to do is we want to take up that gap area with that 3/16 inch piece that you just cut off. Just on the opposite end of our recessed sanded area, with 100 grit sandpaper, sand down the inside of your 1 1/4 PVC grip pattern here, and epoxy in your 3/16 inch piece here. Now, what that'll do is, once the epoxy is cured, you could take your upper emitter here and you could, if it's snug enough, fairly put it in place with your grip pattern. Now you can see now that there is no gap in here. It's pretty sturdy. Now once this is pretty good and it's nice and snug for you, take some glue, liberally apply it to the inside of your grip pattern here. Take some epoxy, place it around your 1-inch PVC pipe here. Just put it on and slowly turn it and insert it into your PVC grip pattern. Once this is cured, then these two will be inseparable and will be one permanent bond. If you do have any imperfections on your top end of your saber, try and keep it towards the back end of your grip here. Now that our epoxy is cured, what we can work on now is the internal cover here for our grip pattern. So to demonstrate here with the remaining piece of my inlet here, I'm going to show you what's happening. If I take my inlet here, put it to the inside of my grip pattern, you can see that there is a pretty much a significant amount of play. So again, we have to compensate for that area. Take your 5 5/8 piece that you just cut here and cut a slit right down the middle. To make this piece fit inside, when you cut it down the middle, take the remaining piece here of your inlet, and with your 5 5/8 piece here, you can slide it over your inlet here as shown. You can see here that this already has the gap mostly needed to fit inside of the Qui Gon handle. Now what you want to do is to go find a heat source and let this sit under the heat for a little while so that it can expand. Once it has expanded enough, give about 15-30 seconds without burning this, pull it away and allow it to cool. Now we're going to glue our inside cover here to the inside of our PVC grip pattern. Now if you look inside of your grip pattern here, make sure that you do not have a glue bead where you just glued in your upper emitter section here. Now the reason for this is that when you put your cover to the inside, you can see on mine here that I have a gap which I have to fill in. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to estimate how big my glue bead is, and I'm going to transfer that to where I need to cut off on my inside cover here. And then when I have that, use your Dremel tool and just start trimming out your estimated cut area is here. Now start off with some small cuts and fit it back in with repetitive inserts to make sure that you are not overlaying your cuts to go into your grip pattern here. Now once everything is seated properly, epoxy your inside cover here to the inside of your grip pattern. The best way to get glue towards the top end here of your grip pattern, find a long stick or what I found, a metal rod. Take some epoxy, put it on the inside here, and just coat the inside towards your top end here. And if you can, on the bottom section here, put some epoxy in on the bottom end of your grip pattern.